last week. I really appreciate that, and I'm glad to be back. All right, so here we are. It is April 10th, and we are closing in on the end of our current sprint. We have a variety of things in flight, which you can read here on the screen, but in short, we are working on, getting cost accounting into the code base, and I'll talk much more specifically about that in a moment. Continuing work in our RSpace renovation, and starting work on validator incentives, continuing to support testnet 1 while working towards testnet 2. And that's a lot in flight, and the team is working very hard on all fronts to meet those priorities. We did release our node 9.2 yesterday. There's a link to the release plan on this page. This is a really important release if you are an RNode user. There is now a requirement that you sign your deployments. And so there is information in the release plan for how to do this. But if you are our node user, and especially if you're using testnet, our old way of deploying, the old way being without the signature, will no longer work. You'll get an error message, and you do need to sign over your deployments in order to be successful in testnet. So do take a look at that, and please use the testnet channel in Discord if you need support in that space. Happy to help. We continue to work, obviously, towards our Mercury requirements. Testnet 1 is live, live meaning that we've got it up, we are maintaining it, we see a lot of engagement on it, which has really been fun. I want to just make sure to reiterate that the role of testnet is twofold. One is to provide a platform for you to engage with and get to know how our RChain platform works, but also to we're continuing development. And so as new things come in, we will reboot the testnet, especially if those new things are bug fixes. Also, as we observe problems on the testnet, we may need to take it down and bring it back up. We are doing our best to communicate that clearly to you, testnet users, in the testnet Discord channel. And through the wiki page, but what we don't have is long lead times. So sometimes you'll see me pop in and say, we're getting ready to kill it because something bad has happened, and we restart it very quickly. But in those instances, you can expect that you too will need to kill your node, clear out your data directory, and restart and join the network again. We will do our best to manage those expectations. We are still very much in early days here in testnet 1, so you're likely to see a fair amount of rebooting. That will taper off over time, and we absolutely expect to see that taper off over time. So that's the current state of things. Do take a look at the public testnet information page. It has all the information that you would need to get started on testnet and to understand what version of node is running on there at that time. Community testing, as Chris mentioned last week, is taking a bit of a shift, where prior to the launch of testnet 1, we use this as very much of a hands-on testing opportunity. But now that testnet 1 is live, we're going to be doing more to use this time as office hours for people who aren't using the testnet. So there's a variety of personas that might be interested in this. If you are interested in running a node and would like to come and get some support in getting your node up and running and getting connected to testnet, community testing is the place for you. If you are currently engaging on testnet and are working, I see a lot of people moving tokens around, and have questions about how that's going or have suggestions or ideas, community testing is absolutely the place for you. If you're a dApp developer and you're starting to play with testnet and looking for a better understanding of not only deploying contracts, but calling them and listening for information about your contract on chain, community testing is the place for you. We're going to use it as an office hours for people who are interested in using the testnet platform. Let me just pause there. Any questions about that related to testnet? Okay. We have a bug in consensus related that we're seeing this ignorable equivocation error. We see it in testnet 1. We have one PR in that is related to a fix for that. We have another PR open that will continue to look for the fix for that. It's not burning out the network, but it is an issue, and it creates a lot of noise on the network. We are also working to update our Casper test suite. This is really important. In order to deliver performant and reliable code, we have as a development team opted to really use a lot of automated testing in terms of unit testing and integration testing and long-term testing to help make sure that the code that's going into the project works. Cost accounting, in the implementation of cost accounting, creates some fairly significant changes that impact the tests that we already have in place. And these are really important tests that they catch a lot of bugs before you guys get an opportunity to see them. And these are the Casper tests. And we are in a situation right now where we need to update a fair amount of those tests so that they will continue to function as we bring cost accounting into the code base. And so that is absolutely a priority of the team at this point. We talked very specifically in stand up about it. We're pivoting 2 people to really focus on this and help us get this over the line. But this is why this blocker is here. We do not want to be in a situation where we are ignoring failed tests because we rely on our tests to deliver high quality code. So we're going to have to slow down a little bit here to speed up on the back end. But that's what's happening in terms of updating these Casper tests to bring in cost accounting that it's functional in another branch. We're just trying to get it into our code base. While we're doing that, we have also started work on slashing, and you can take a look at some preliminary thoughts and some options in this document, Architecture for Handling Slashing Transactions. This is part of where our conversation is taking place. No decisions have been made here in this document, but you're welcome to take a peek in what we're thinking and how we're thinking about it. I talked very at length about cost accounting in the previous section, so I don't need to add anything there, but that's what the team is focused on. There is a lot of work going on in our node right now. We have a number of PRs open, and it relates to improving the peering process between nodes as well as the broadcasting of messages among peers. And so these PRs, again, are open and are under review. What we often find with Node is that when we're making big changes, especially broadcasting and peering changes, as it relates to consensus and being successful with consensus across the network, these PRs do go under fairly high scrutiny and broad reviews across the team. And so that's why we're seeing these PRs here, and they are in review and looking forward to getting those in. These will very much be a big part of the 9.3 release. RSpace, the team is continuing on their work to renovate RSpace, what we call our long-term fix. And it is very much on track. They have one PR merged. There is another one that's open, another one that I expect to see open later. And I just want to make sure that I'm clear with the community that even though you're seeing these PRs, for example, merge into the code base, this work won't be complete until all work is done. And so you can see, if you want to take a deep dive into RChain 3138, you can see all the work that's planned, but we're not slowly implementing these changes. We're building them in. They're going to live in parallel until we remove our short-term fix and implement this long-term fix. So if you're excited about that, and I know several people are, just please wait for all of this work to be complete before you can see it all in use. Testnet, just truly grateful for the work of our SRE team. They are spot on in getting this testnet up, not only up and running, but also monitoring it and being responsive to it. So kudos to the SRE team for their work in this space. They are, obviously maintaining, updating, and working on debugging. And right now, some work going into providing some access to our dev team so that they can get into a validator and do more debugging as it's working. Also working towards completing the dashboard and, of course, being responsive to user needs, both in Discord and during our office hour sessions. We are focused on performance testing. Now, at this point in time, especially with the RSpace renovation in progress, performance numbers are low. Like, this is not the time to start measuring performance, but we are focused on performance testing because we do know it's a priority for the platform. You can take a look at our page, our wiki page on platform performance. You can read more about how we are testing for performance and especially definitions of what performance means on the RChain platform. So you're welcome to follow along there. We also have some work going on. With the completion and implementation of the wallet features, and these are the features that we see people using in testnet 1 right now. The team is now working on hardening of this feature and making sure that it is as performant and as reliable and as secure as possible. So that is work that the team is doing as well this week. And with that, that is the end of my update. I'm happy to take questions if you have any.
Thank you, Kelly. I just wanted to mention that I got a private message from a community member who is doing some performance testing against the testnet, and by his calculations, at least the way he's packing blocks, he's seeing about 3,000 COM events per second. So, which is not necessarily low. It's faster than the COM events we were seeing as they were measured in Berlin. So it's about twice as fast. A lot of these performance tests are going to really depend upon how many transactions per block are packed in, right? So if you're only doing one transaction, per proposal, that's going to give you relatively low transaction numbers. But if you do any sort of block packing strategy, that should get you much higher transactions per second. So it's something that we need to be aware of as we start to think about decent performance numbers and good optimization strategies. Go ahead.
Yeah, I want to make sure that we're really clear that when when we talk about transactions and when we talk about performance, what we really are specifically talking about are COM events.
Mm-hmm.
Like
That's
this
right.
is right. So this is the measurement. So if you're looking to measure the transaction of sending rev across, which involves a lot of COM events, that's not the measure here. It's not a financial transaction we're talking about. It's the transaction. It's this the send and receipt, the completion of the send and receipt of a COM and what makes up a COM event.
Mm-hmm.
And so that we talk about that fairly explicitly here. And you can also take a look at the contract that we use, which creates a large number of COM events across a wide range of channels, and is our contract of choice for measuring performance. And we encourage others to use it as well and give that a try. It's also really important if you're looking at measuring performance. If you have contracts with joins in them, it's likely to be misleading. Is it?
Correct. We're not offering joins at that kind of transaction rate, right? There's because you could always um, um, what you can always implement joins by breaking the tie in your local code, right? So you can sequence it, to the left or to the right, and that will give you a better performance. The joins are there as a convenience feature in the language, but it's not something that we you want to measure your high speed transactions performance against. But again, Kelly, I recommend that people explore lots of different approaches to testing the performance. So we've got one contract that's exploring one approach, but there's a wide range of approaches that are available, and a lot of this, as I said, is going to have to do with how the blocks are packed.
Yeah, and very much agreed. There are also other contracts that we use as well. If you go to the repo for the perf harness, you can see those and agreed with Greg. Let's throttle it. If you have a contract that you're looking at and you're curious about performance, give it a go.
Yeah, absolutely. And the more engagement, the better is really the key here. I was actually encouraging him to be on the community call to present his findings. The other aspect that he showed was that he was getting these rates on relatively toy hardware, right? So, and that's we don't have big beefy hardware behind what we're running. We could easily have much higher end hardware and get 3 to 5x just by changing the hardware that we're running on. So a lot of what we'll ultimately report will have to factor in the kind of hardware that you're using in the shard to get these kinds of numbers. It will also have to factor in the degree of separation between the nodes, right? So eventually, if the nodes are widely separated and there are a lot of internet hops to get messages from one node to another, that's going to factor in, right? Right now, we don't have any, light speed messaging capabilities, or faster than light messaging capabilities. So, the separation on the internet between nodes will also factor in. So to get a full and complete picture of performance is going to require a lot more nailing down of all of the factors. But I'm very encouraged actually by the performance that we're starting to see. Anything else on the tech update?
Not for me.
Any questions from the community? Going once. Going twice. Okay, so we have just a few business updates. First and foremost, I'm sure a lot of community members will be interested to know that we're seeing a lot of interest. A lot of parties have come forward with interest in ROC token from the cooperative. And we're going to have to make some kind of offer widely available to the membership. And I won't speak about the details on this channel, but in the Friday closed door session call, we will we'll begin to talk about some of that for various members. For the membership, because it's really a requirement at this stage of the game that the co-op provides the same sort of economic opportunities to all of the membership. So the other sort of related issues that sort of all come bundled in because they impinge upon various parties who have concerns about the co-op. I just want to be really clear. I said it last week, but I will reiterate. I have been DM'd by many people in the community, and I have spoken with the board, and the reflective proposal is a non-starter with respect to the cooperative. Just the board has no interest in entertaining that proposal, and the vast majority of the membership that have contacted me has no interest in entertaining that proposal. So the reflective proposal is effectively off the table. Instead, we are pursuing legal engagement there, and that's all I can say in a public forum. We'll remind people that a legal action has been taken with respect to Pythia, and there will be follow-up action coming very shortly. So that so people should be fully apprised that the co-op has rejected Pythia's position and has responded through legal means. I can't say any more in the public forum, but that's people should be apprised of that, and be absolutely certain that that's our position. Again, I want to remind the entire membership that our tax filings have been prepared. We will not be paying anything in excess of $478,000. We may pay less. We're going to submit the filings a little bit later than the April 15th date, and are filing an extension just so that we can have additional legal opinion on the filing. So Hunt Jackson are accountants, but they are not they're not lawyers. We want to make sure that a tax lawyer looks it over to make sure that if the IRS ever came knocking on our door, we have legal argumentation as well as all of the accounting data, so to shore up our position with respect to our filing. we'll be paying about 25% of the estimated costs at the time we file the extension. And that's about all the detail I can go into here. I can take questions or comments in the closed door session on Friday. Because it is tax season, our accountants are extremely burdened, so there may be some delay in getting the Q1 compilations out the door. I don't know. That's not for sure, but we were given heads up that that might be the case because of the it's tax season, and our accountants are just very popular and under a little bit under the gun, under pressure during tax season. So just wanted to give people heads up on that possibility. Let's see. I think, are there any other issues there? That's it. I will be speaking in more detail to the membership about what's going on with our song, and just want to make sure that that people are apprised that there are extremely positive things going on with our song. We have a potential business partner that is in accelerated talks with us there, and so we'll have more details about that in the closed door session. So let me stop there and see if there's any questions from the community about any of those updates. Going once.
Yeah, Greg, I have a question about the process with regards to these closed door sessions on Friday. I brought it up to Ian yesterday, and my idea is to have only chairmen of committees attend that meeting along with board members. That's a way of like delegating information to a trusted party, because they would have a chair position in the committee. What do you think about having that change? Because I think running these closed door sessions with infinite number of community members could be a little bit unsustainable in terms of that information processing. Do you agree with that, or is that something you want to entertain potentially in the future?
I would like to entertain it. I'd like to get some feedback from the membership as to whether or not that's something that they would like. Honestly, I much prefer much more transparent and open communication, but given the what we've seen so far in terms of the treatment of information, that might be the best solution. But so let's get some response from the membership. We need to see a little bit more engagement with the committees themselves before that would be a reasonable strategy. But it's certainly an option that we ought to consider seriously.
Right. Yeah. Because I just want that to be a two-way street. I mean, last Friday we heard your updates and almost no one asked any questions. So if it's a little bit more honed down to delegates and they come forward with items of business from their committees, that could be maybe a two-way street, and we can hammer out higher level information at a much more efficient manner. That's all what I'm thinking. It's not a transparency issue. It's just a matter of it being a two-way street, and that communication is efficient.
Yep, understood. Okay. Any floor is now open to any questions from the community at this point. Going once. Going twice. Okay, I guess that's it for today's community hangout. Really appreciate your time and attention, and looking forward to next week, where Kelly, we should be having a demo next week. Is that right?
Yes.
Of the cost accounting.
Yep.
Awesome. Really looking forward to that as well.
Me too.
Yep. Very good.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Rock on. Ciao.